Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have quite a nice rack. This looks close to a bingo, but I'm not seeing one. I've got a scoring tile in the W. And I think I'm going to wreck the rack. I can't see a way of leaving a decent rack leave. I could play row, but A-E-I-R, too vowel heavy. So I can play warier. Well, I think aurea probably better in terms of rack leave for 26. I draw the second W, and I've got the W-U pair, which isn't good. But the rack overall not too bad. It's fairly balanced. I should be able to play through it. And I've got vowels next to premium squares, and my W can go on all of those. So I could play ward, W-A-U-R-E-D, or wab, rude is not too bad a rack leave. I don't think there are any 8s with this rack. I'm just going to consider the floaters on the board. So, not seen anything so far. I've got the ED ending. I've got weed. No, I'm not seeing anything, and I'm not really surprised. Not only are U and W non-synergetic, but B also goes badly with them. I'm wondering if there's a way I can play off B, U, and W, and I can play burweed, but I don't know if that would score enough to justify the play. I don't think it would compared to something like ward. 26 for ward. Wow, fantastic start for opponent. There goes the first blank. Now the N looks like it could be useful because I have the U, but not seeing anything with that. And opponent's taken the spots I was considering for candidate plays. So what can I do here? Well, I've got ward, and let me just pause after war. It may not be worth playing off E and D. They may assist the rack leave. So that's 25 points. I do trail, so I'm quite happy to leave the floaters alone in aurea. Can I do any better than this? It's quite handy getting rid of the W with the U. When you've got 3 problem tiles, you're certainly looking to play off 2 of them. I'm going with this. Great, I draw a couple of S's. I would have disabuse through an I, and I've just blocked that. Do I have anything through the available floaters? Now, how about the R? I have, I think, Sir-based. I think that's good. Not a double-double. And I think that has an anagram of Subidars, which also plays, but is not a double-double. So that may be blocked. Let me have a look at the other side of the board. Do I have a bingo through the N or the G? And the N is more likely. I have... Wow, does it fit? It does. Sub-deans. Wow, that just sneaks in. But it places an S in the middle of row A. Well, that's good news. It means I am bingoing this turn. So, are there any other bingo lanes that I haven't considered? And I'm wondering if there are any 7s with this rack. It does look quite useful, but I'm not seeing a 7 here. Okay, opponent obstructs column 5, but Subidars still plays. And I think that's best of the plays I've considered for 77. And that puts me into the lead. And I've got a couple of good scoring tiles. But the vowels next to premium squares on the board have pretty much vanished, which is a shame. So what can I do with this rack? Very non-bingo-y. I could play the J with the X through the E of Subidars. And that may be worth doing. Getting rid of J, U and X would leave probably the best possible rack leave from this rack of Clod. Not a great score, but I'm not seeing anything great elsewhere on the board. Great, just 21 for opponents. So this is what I was thinking of. I'm taking out a useful floater, which is good since I'm ahead. I'm getting rid of all of my junk. I'm not providing anything for opponents. The score is, well, potentially terrible. It's terrible if I'm overlooking a 30 or 40 point play elsewhere. Let me just put this back. I've got 17 minutes. Do I have a play down column 4? Wow, close to judo, but that doesn't quite fit. If it did, it would definitely be better than je. No, I'm not seeing anything better, so I am going with je for 18. And I draw the Z. Through a Y, I would have Zlotic, not as a bingo, but playing off all of my high-scoring tiles. My H can go next to the S, but I'm not seeing a play which gets doubled. Je doesn't take any hooks. I'm not seeing anywhere great for the Z. Wow, another bingo for opponent. He goes back into the lead. So, do I have a Z play running across the top of... Well, let me consider top left first. Can I get my Z on this double letter square? And I don't think I can. That's a shame. That would have been a 100-point play, I'm sure. I'm really stymied by the lack of vowels. And I don't think I have a play running over the top of Destins either. That would need to be a something OZ play, and I'm not seeing one. Wow, that is a shame. So, what can I do? Well, I've certainly got DOH in this spot, and that would leave the Z alone for next turn. If I simply had an E, I would have had Shay for a big score. Oh well. Am I missing something better? I think this is a great spot for opponents, so quite important to consider going here. That's 35. I don't think I'm going to score much more than that. It's slightly bad retaining 4 consonants rather than 3, but I just can't see a way of playing off fewer. What about a play down column H? No. Well, what I could do is this. It doesn't get tripled, but it's a 48-point play, and I think that's better than DOH. I am going with this. Grim, very grim. But not grim enough to change. If I could play Hill, then that would be okay, and there is a spot for that at the moment in row C. I've also got Ilth and Thill on my rack. Bottom half of the board quite tight. There are bingo lanes, but R only takes an E underneath it, and A is more likely to be in the middle of a bingo than at the end, so the bottom of the board may be slow to develop. Pos takes a couple of tiles in front, A and E. So all of the action at the moment around Destins. Ilth could play under the S of Destins. Just one S to come and one blank. So where else do I have a play? Well, I'm really struggling. But if an opponent does play above Destins, there may still be an opportunity to play Ilth or Thill. I don't have anything around the Z. Well, I do slightly. I have Duet, but keeping 3 L's, I'd be very surprised if that is optimal. So, anywhere else to play off 2 L's? Gull, but the score is rubbish. I do have a lead, just 19 points with opponent on turn, so quite a close game. I'm not seeing any options other than those already mentioned. Opponent down to 13 minutes. And Ilth remains available, thankfully. Is there anything else? Well, Thill, even better. For 27. And I do draw vowels now, but it's not a particularly pleasing overall rack. No scoring tiles, and not especially bingo-y. And opponent changes. Wow. I lead by 15, and that puts the tempo to me. So, what should I do with it? I do need to sort out the duplicates. Wow, I have 3 sets of duplicates. So, what to do with them? I could play Dilly in column 12. That doesn't really sort things out particularly well. What about row C? I could play EDU. Wow, close to Elude, apart from TD. No, not seeing anything there. I do have an E for going above the X. Net takes an E. The 2 L's can only take I's underneath them, which restricts me from playing there. I wonder what opponent... Well, he changed 6 if this is to be believed, so he was probably just getting rid of junk as opposed to setting a bingo up. I have nothing which goes underneath the J. 12 minutes on my clock. I do have some nice 4-letter plays on my rack which would sort out the duplicates, but I'm not seeing anywhere to play them. Words like yield and idle. And I'm reluctant to play on the bottom half of the board where yield would play. I've got nothing above the U. Wow, this is tricky. Maybe I should play Dilly. Duplicate E, not a terrible thing. Dilly for 16. Well, I do draw 2 more E's, but I do now have a scoring tile in the Y. So I could play Eyelet to sort the rack out to some extent. Still 31 tiles to come, so a lot of action ahead. I could play EYE above the X. Just 1 E to come, so actually these 4 E's are not terrible. I could play off just 2 and feel quite comfortable keeping a pair of E's. All U's have gone, and the Q is still out there. Now, do I have anything top right with this D? Not sure I do. So, I haven't seen anything which I'm massively a fan of, except I have now seen I in row I, making Guy, Nay and Re. That would be quite nice, and that would score more than I above Je. 23 up here, and about 26 lower down, and that would interfere with bingos through the A, which is good since I currently lead. I'm hoping my opponent will be attracted to this triple word square top right, because he's not going to score very much there, and it's not going to open the board up. Well, he doesn't. Wow, he does something much more concerning. He opens up column 1, and I have to do something about that. And I can play Gleety for 42. Bang! So, I now lead by 50, but I've drawn the Q. And look at this, there's this spot above the eye of GIF and the eye of Dilly, so I can get rid of it straight away. And if both remain available, I could even consider retaining the Q, but I think that's unlikely. So a 50-point lead, but the remaining tiles are looking quite bingo-y, and this board is not as tight as I would like it to be. A and R are pretty useful floaters. Column 11's available, row J, and there's the T of Gleety. And I'm not in a position to shut down those bingo lanes. I would have Vaquero through a U, but none of the U's is available for that. So I see no point in hanging on to the Q, and I'm expecting this I to remain available next turn. And the V, although normally not a great tile, is helped by the fact that 1V has already been played in evening, so it's not going to get duplicated. And I have OER. Wow, fantastic bingo for opponents, 62 points. Still 1 S to come. I need to check if tardying takes an S. I don't think it does. Great, it doesn't. I don't need to worry about that. I trail by 12. 16 tiles in the bag, and look at this, they are still bingo-y. Opponent has actually bingoed using some non-bingo-y tiles like the Y, and he's provided another Q spot, but I think this is best. Chi for 31. I draw a vowel, which is a shame. Let me check the remaining vowels. 10 out of 22, so a pretty balanced bag. And it's slightly problematic because although the V isn't a terrible tile, it's not a great tile, but if I play off the V, I've got a very vowel-heavy rack. Definitely no bingos with this rack. So, what to do here. Where can I play my V for value? I do have A's and E's for going underneath ZE, but I don't have anything good there. I am actually happy to retain the V, but the problem is scoring with the other tiles. My lead is just 19 points with opponent on turn. Wow, if I had an I could have played Agi. Okay, just 27 for opponent. And the remaining tiles still looking good. Maybe the solitary E, the only non-bingo-y element of what's left. So 10 minutes on my clock. What to do here? Well, I could actually play AE up here, sorting out the duplicates. Scoring 16 points, just about okay with some one-pointers. What about a better spot? I could play EAU here for 26 points. Wow, that is a nice score. Given I'm playing off two one-point tiles, and this rack leave isn't too bad. I'm going with this. I draw vowels, I think. Maybe I draw an R as well. But it's still not quite bingo-y enough. 34 for opponent. Look at this. I trail by 16. I may need a bingo to win. I've got the over prefix with A, O, and T. That's not good enough. Just 7 tiles left, and they're massively bingo-y. I don't wish to hang on to the V, and I think now's the time to get rid of it. It would be nice to get rid of 2 O's as well. And to get rid of precisely those tiles, I may not be able to do that. Wow, this is a tricky spot and a crucial point in the game. I'm looking again at the top right as a way of playing off 2 O's. I know the O helps the V, but this 5-letter set is quite good as well. O for 16. Can I do better? What about a play running over the top of the X? Well, I can't see a word beginning with B. That gets rid of the V. What about a play beginning OV? Well, I do want to hang on to the E. So at the moment, OO is the best I'm seeing. And I think I may need a bingo to win this game. An opponent may be about to come down with one. Oo for 16. Do I want to do this? I've just noticed there's a gov spot, but I have to do something about the 2 O's. I don't have to play off both of them. Just 16 points. Although the remaining tiles are bingo-y, I'd like to leave the bingo lanes alone because I may need to bingo to win. I'm going with this. Well, I have varmint. Nowhere for it right away. Just 5 tiles in the bag. And I've got 2 scoring tiles. They don't go particularly well together. I can play Vim through the Eye of Dilly, leaving Anta, which is a pretty good 5-letter set. I can't really use this gov spot to score the V twice, but maybe I should just play off the V and keep Martin. Well, my hand may be forced because there are only 5 tiles in the bag. And opponent could take all of them. And he could leave just one in the bag, in which case gov would be attractive. I feel uneasy about that double O move. It didn't feel fantastic. Anyway. Okay, so opponent plays off 3, leaving 2 in the bag. They're not particularly bingo-y, the remaining tiles. Not particularly bingo-y for opponent, but if I play off just the 1 tile with gov, this is quite a useful set. I'm just wondering about playing Vim. I think this rack lead might be better without the M. So what if I draw an A? I think that's quite possible, or most likely, since there are 2 of them unseen. Would I have a bingo? 6 minutes on my clock. Well, I would have Ramenta. That doesn't play underneath foo. And I don't think Ramenta has any anagrams. So that I wouldn't have one. I'm only getting 11 points for gov. Wow, this is tricky. It's such a standard thing to leave 1 in the bag, but maybe that gives opponent 1 more chance to fish for a bingo. And if I want to outrun opponent, maybe this improves my chances. Vim for 16. I didn't feel the M was really helping this rack. Well, I know the standard wisdom is to leave 1 in the bag, but I'm not going to do that. I think if opponent bingos, I don't think I could bingo back. And I think this increases my chances of bingoing. I'm going with this. So I do not draw the A. Opponent, I don't think, has a bingo on his rack. He does lead by 5. I have the K, which is a good scoring tile. I have retaken. 4 not good. Wow, that's a shame. Do I have anything? I don't think I do. This doesn't look massively bingo-y. I have bingos through the I, but not with the I in last place. I'm not seeing any hot K spots. An opponent can now plan an out in 2 since I didn't leave 1 in the bag. So I'm still looking for bingos. That's my best chance of winning this game. Not seeing one. So there's the Y, there's the I, which definitely I don't have a bingo ending with that. There's the N. No, and the G doesn't look good with this. So do I have any plays in row N? Getting the K tripled. I have Krang, but that's 1 square too short. So what if I'd played off just the V and I'd drawn just the E? That would have meant I'd had the M rather than the K. I'm not sure about that. 1 minute on opponent's clock. And not very much on mine. 5, slightly more. And I really could do with getting value from this K. I can't see any way of placing the K in front of the Y and getting the move doubled. Okay, 24 for opponent. He's left with IO, which he is going to be able to go out in 2 spots. He's got IO and go. And what else does he have? Four minutes on my clock. He has Nor-I through N and R. Wow, I thought for a moment retaken went, but it doesn't. So I think I need to, well, not need to, but I think my score is maximized by playing in row O. So what do I have there? The K would need to be this side of gas bag. And the, well, I don't have anything which goes under the G. That's nonsense. So I have a key, 35, which is not going to be enough. It's going to be very close, but it's not going to be enough. And I can make it slightly better with Raki for 39. And I don't think that's going to be enough, but it's going to be jolly close. Does this open up anything huge for opponent? No, but I think he's still going to get enough with IO and AG. So 3 minutes on my clock. This is 39. EB not good. Disaster. Disaster. Well, it's not a disaster. I was going to lose anyway, but I'm going to lose by a bigger margin now. So I've got Kia for 30. Can I do any better than that? That would take me to 398, 1 point ahead. 2 minutes on my clock. Food does take a T. So am I sure there are no anagrams of retaken? Don't think so. What about playing tanker here? 29 points. I think that may be slightly better. Well, it's not because of IO above tanker. Okay, I think I've run out of hope and ideas here. I'm going with Kia for 39. For 30 rather. And opponent has 1 minute to find a win, but anywhere he can go out is a win. I'm just waiting for an anagram of retaken to come to mind. I don't think there is one. And the final score, 398 for me, 419 for my opponent, a winning margin of 21 points. So well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first, and I played Aurea, and I still like that. Great starting rack for opponent. Bingos with evening. And I have this rack. No bingo, but daub available. Wow, underneath evening, that's quite nice. What did I do? I played war for 25, 10 fewer points. And what did I keep? So I played war, keeping bed, and daub for 35, 10 more points kept RW. Is bed 10 points better than RW? I don't think so. RW must be, I think, slightly negative, maybe minus 3 or 4, and bed must be positive, probably about 4 or 5. So actually there may be a difference of about 8 points in those rack leaves, so the move's not too far apart. Now, great pick for opponent. No bingo though. Plays Poe, and that's great because I have Subidars for 77. Opponent's rack. A lot of vowels. Plays Aura. And now I struggled with this rack. I went with Je, which doesn't feature here, but Juco's B1, Yeah, quite nice. 28 points, retaining the X. And the X maybe is worth retaining because it's quite a flexible tile in terms of featuring in long and short words, so I could expect to get some value from it. But Je keeping Claude. Claude is quite a nice rack cleave. So I don't think Je is far behind the other options on offer here. Now look at this for a rack. Absolutely fantastic. Plenty of bingos available. Opponent plays Destins. And I have Cos for 48. And look at that. Zoe available for the same score. And possibly a slightly better rack cleave. Now, not a great rack for opponent. He plays Hen. And I have Thil for 27, which looks fine. I think this is where opponent changes. So he changed from this rack, and I think that's a reasonable thing to do. He could have got 26 for Rock, but GOOQ, pretty grim. So that gave me hope. I was 15 points ahead, but I didn't have a great rack. So I played Dilly, but E-Day available at J1. How bad is that, sticking the I in the middle of column 1? Gullied, G13, sticking loads of floaters in the open, so I like my playing. And look at that, opponent's drawn the second blank and is not far off a bingo. In fact, he has one. Graffiti, F15 through the A. Wow, tricky one to see. So opponent plays GIF, and I play Gleety for 42. Islet, I2, available because of EPOS, but then that's creating access to triple word squares, so I prefer Gleety. And wow, opponent, this is where opponent played Tardying. There were other bingos available for the same score, all through the A. And now I am behind. I trail by 12. I've got the Q and the V. But I played G for 31, and that looks fine. Opponent plays Dimp, and now just 8 points between us. So I play O for 26, and I like that. I like this rack leave. I could have played J2 Reeve, but I'm not a massive fan of that. It takes an R at the end, and there's an R out there, as well as an S. Opponent's rack plays Foo, and I played just double O at this point for 16 points, and not terribly many more points on offer. But K11, possibly worth considering, getting rid of the V with over E. But then that's setting up a 7-tile bingo lane, so I'm not sure about that. Opponent's rack plays Act. And now things start to unravel a bit. I trail by 20, and I felt that I needed to bingo to win. 2 tiles in the bag. So actually, all of these moves are rubbish. It's got to be better to leave 1 or none in the bag, and I chose none. Opponent plays gas bag. And no bingo here. I thought about Tanker at M2, but I think opponent would have scored more with his remaining tiles, so I think Kia was a better play. And then finally, opponent could have got 14 points for IO, and in fact did so. And that was the end of the game. So absolutely cracking game, great start for opponent with Evening, but I managed to catch him back up with Subidars, and we were then neck and neck right up until the pre-end game. And although the tiles looked fairly bingo-y and I had a fairly bingo-y rack, neither of us did bingo right at the end, and my opponent was able to eke out the win. So many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.